Okay, thank you.
I'm here.
Hi, John.
Hello, John.
Hi.
Does anyone know how to get the banner off the bottom of the screen that has the telephone and so I can see, because I can't see all of John's face or David's face.
Yeah, see, I don't know this system very well. The Zoom seems so much easier. I'm on my iPad, and it right now I only see the person that's speaking.
Yep, it just changed again, the view.
Something popped up and said, was that you, Oswaldo, made a comment?
To change the layout.
What's that? Oh yeah. So if you move your mouse around on your screen, on the bottom right-hand corner, there should be 3 little dots.
Yep.
New menu will show up, and you can go to the top menu option and change layout and select tiled, and that way you'll be able to see everyone at the same time.
Yeah, I like that better.
Oswaldo.
Yep.
This is Kevin. I'm on my pad, and it says when I push on those 3 dots, I have switch camera, turn on captions, present screen, report a problem, report abuse, help, cancel.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think on tablets it doesn't give you that option.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. So, okay. Yeah, so I mostly just see whoever is talking, then their screen lights up.
Yeah, I think that's what it'll do. It'll focus on whoever's talking.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Please hold on.
Where's the singing? Need a little tune.
Only for charities. Sorry.
How about a preview?
My pipes are rusty.
I thought you were talking to me.
You can sing. Please do.
Go for it, Vance.
I'd like it.
You sound like your speaking voice sounds like you might have a nice singing voice. He's laughing.
I once did some voiceover work, but...
Oh yeah, you have a nice smooth sound.
He does great impersonations, or no, impressions. Is that what you call them? Impressions?
Yeah.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yep,
Yes.
We don't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm on a different computer because my laptop was insufficient to run the stream. So, I started the stream. It's been going a while. I apologize. I thought I was linked in. So we'll now begin the Town Board Workshop meeting for May 7th, 2020, 6:30 p.m. We'll start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
to the republic
which
stands
one
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have an item in new business that I'm going to discuss discuss now. It's number 3 in new business, and it's the YouTube chat. So what we're going to try to do for this meeting is allow comment in the YouTube chat from the public, which we will refer to at the end of the meeting. We will not be reading the comments, but they will be there for the public to see. Let me make sure that it's enabled. Okay, I think we're good. I've enabled it. I guess anyone can give it a shot, and I'll consult with the live stream again in a minute. So we'll start with correspondence. Number 1, John Fiorella, who submitted a correspondence in the midst of the last meeting. Unfortunately, I apologize to him. I didn't get it out that we were waiting until this meeting to do, concurrent comment. John talked about protocols for transient guests and references to the County Commissioner of Health. Megan Dave Everett, number 2, discussing the summer camp vote. Bob Balcom, number 3, Robert's Rules of Order. Actually, I think I broke one of your recommendations already, Bob. Carol Moore, April 21st meeting. Jeannie Villette Bowerman, and my apologies to Jeannie Villette Bowerman. One of the board members questioned the motives for her correspondence, and it's something I should have addressed in real time. I hope she isn't discouraged from writing further, nor no one else from seeing that. Number 6, Julia Hurst, Seed to Feed, a program for educating the backyard vegetable grower and much more. Number 7, Gail Cerrone. Gail sent me a link with, I believe, 2 surgeons from California talking about relaxing physical distancing. Unfortunately, when I forwarded it on, the YouTube links you sent had already expired, so I don't know if that's still out there, but I couldn't find it. Okay, new business. Now, Tammy and David and Mike Bucci and Lisa Gill and I have been in a lot of different talks about what's going on in the state of Chatham with revenues and expenses. And thanks to Tammy and David working together, and David developing an Excel spreadsheet to display, real changes that could be made to try to narrow our expenses in the face of plummeting revenues. They both contributed to a presentation this evening for the board. So, David, without any further ado, I'll let you begin. David LeBeau, the Finance and Planning Committee Chair, will be presenting a spreadsheet to the board. Thank you, David.
Okay, thanks, Donal. Good evening, everybody. What the spreadsheet is, it starts with the approved, adopted 2020 budget, and line by line allows anybody that's using it to put in a different number instead of the budgeted number, and it will adjust our totals so we can see ultimately whether there's a shortfall or whether there's going to be a surplus. So let me show you what this thing looks like. Make sure I got the right one here. Does everybody see the spreadsheet?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
So this is, if you will, the home page of the spreadsheet. But let me show you how it works. So let's say, for example, we go over to the Finance tab. And so where it says expenses and account code and 2020 adopted, that's exactly from the adopted budget, no changes whatsoever. So down here, line number 16, it says professional contractual accounting firm. We budgeted $21,250. Let's assume that we negotiate with them, say we're tight on expenses, and how about giving us a break for the accounting? So let's say we agree on 20,000 instead of 21,250. So we put in 20,000, and it computes a 1250 change. Now that 1250 gets carried out. Everybody see this here?
Yep.
So our expenses went down by 1250 based on that. So over here, the amount to be raised by the town, which was budgeted at 528,929, actually now has gone down to 527,679. So it automatically carries through whatever adjustments that we might make. Let's assume, on the other hand, on highway revenues, as soon as I can find them. I think this hung. Bear with me a moment. Let's try this. Sorry, I've got to drop out of this and come back in. For some reason. Sorry for the problem, guys.
It's okay.
Are you seeing this screen?
We see you.
Still seeing you.
I see you. All right, well, I got to share it again. That's not the right one. Are you seeing this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if it will cooperate. I took out that change. I'm just going to go over to the highway.
David, I'm seeing your
Windows Explorer, David.
I'm sorry?
Your list of files.
Oh. Huh. I switched. I'm going to have to reshare it, I guess.
There it is.
All right. Let me just get through this before it drops out on me again. All right, so here's our highway revenue. So let's say here's the sales tax, non-property tax distribution. Let's assume that we're assuming it's just going to drop by $100,000. So compute the change of 100,000 lost revenues. I go back over here, and we can see again 100,000 decline, and so the amount to be raised by town went from 717,890 to 817,890. So do you see how this thing could be used? By plugging in whatever assumptions that we want to make, we come up with a shortfall or a surplus. Now, what Tammy, Donal, and I did the other day was go through it once. Sorry, I'm having all this trouble. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to put up a different one. And hopefully start sharing again. How about now? Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
It's not the other one, though.
That's not the other one. This is the other one. You see this one? I think it still comes back to the first one. So let me do that. I want that. I hope this is the right one. Okay, are you seeing this one?
Yes.
All right, so Tammy, Donal, and I spent probably the longest phone call I've been on in years, going through every single line item and trying to estimate what we thought the new number would be. And this is a very first pass. There's a lot of things that we had to skip over. We just didn't have any idea what the numbers might be. We made a whole bunch of assumptions. It's far from complete. And so as the new numbers come in, as we get more estimates on sales tax and more estimates on mortgage tax and what we decide to do about payroll, so on and so forth, this will get updated as the new numbers come in. And so we'll be able to keep sort of a running total of where we stand. Does this all make sense to you?
Yes.
Sure.
If anybody wants a copy of this, let me know. I'll send it to you. Or you could play around with it on your own. This is not proprietary. The only instruction, there's an instruction tab, but the only thing I'll say now is when you look at these individual tabs, whatever it happens to be, you cannot change expenses, you cannot change account code, you cannot change 2020 adopted. You can only change the forecast, and it will automatically compute a change. You cannot put in a change. If you put in a change, try and put in a change, it won't let you. So anybody that wants to can go through this, build on what we've done so far, put in your own numbers, play what if, so on and so forth. And this is freely available. If anybody else is listening and wants a copy, send me an email, dlaveau@laveau.com, and I will send you a copy of the spreadsheet.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Not in terms of the document, that's very helpful. In terms of overall coping with what we're coping with, where are we taking into account our excess fund balance?
Not at this point, but we are aware of the fund balance. We do know that we do have excess fund balance, especially in the A fund. Part of the process is seeing, do we need to use fund balance? And it's hard to answer that question until we get a clear picture of what the revenues and expenses are going to be. But we're well aware that that's an option.
Okay, and my other question related to that is, what theoretically would be the issues for using fund balance or not using excess fund balance? It seems like I thought part of the idea of last year's budget was to get these fund balances down to the level that the policy stated in 2019. And frankly,
John, can I just give you an idea?
Yeah, sure.
Like Fund A, I went and looked at we did the aud report,
Right,
and keeping 25% per the fund balance policy for Fund A on the book, we still have 100,000 over that.
I know. So that's why I thought the idea originally was to get them down to the policy level.
Well, we did, but the problem is too, anything over the 25%, the fund balance policy states you may put it in reserve.
Right, I
But
understand that.
because the tax decrease was so low, I mean, this past year, I mean, if we have a bad revenue, that fund balance is going to be wiped out.
That's what I'm asking. I'm asking do we, when we're looking at the numbers about what we should be cutting, is part of what we're trying to do is to reduce, also trying to reduce our fund balance? Or are we really saying the policy doesn't make any sense and you let the fund balance get as high as you want it to get? Or is that legal without giving a tax?
No, we would give a tax cut to the people, but we would just have to wait to see, you know, what's going to happen as far as the pandemic and the revenues and things like that to see what would we do with that extra money.
I understand that. I'm just saying is that when we're looking at budget cut and places where we can save money, doesn't it theoretically also make sense to think about this as a source of funding to make up that deficit?
Correct.
Okay.
But this isn't a, you know, set in stone. This is just something we played with, that if we had to do cuts, this is where we could cut and this is where we could get down to.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure my thinking was in the right ballpark.
Yep, it is.
And so David and Tammy and I went through, like you said, line by line, and we were looking at everything. You know, we've asked the part-time clerk to stay home, the part-time.
I can't really hear you,
I
John.
can't hear you, Danelle. I don't know if it's only me or if it's everybody.
Yeah, I can't
No,
either.
I can't hear him either.
How's that?
Better.
Better.
Okay, so we went through line by line and looked at what we could shed. And that changed a little bit with a conference call with Joe Rickard yesterday about different materials we need and labor that we need. He is really cutting back on, you know, some of the projects for us. But we do have some expenses, and we have other places that we can draw from that he won't be using. So right now, it looks like we've been able to cut enough to be fairly good, and even with significant reductions in the projected income from fines and forfeitures and sales tax, but we never know what's going to happen. So if everyone would like to look at David's document and know where we're at.
Okay.
But thank you, David and Tammy, for all your work.
I'll give you back your screen.
Hey, David, would you send me a copy of that?
Who is that? Is that John?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Kevin also, please.
Do you want the blank one, or do you want one where we have begun to put in our best guesses?
If I can see, if I can see your best guesses, I can work from that.
Me too.
Okay.
John, I
Yeah, I'd like one as well with your guesses.
I'll send it to everybody. Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Dave.
I also have a forecasting budget spreadsheet that tells everything in each fund that we did cut and how much.
That's great.
That would be helpful, Tammy.
Could you send that too?
Yeah, that goes along with this. Yeah, Tammy did a great job on that. I gotta tell you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, if no one has any further comments on David and Tammy's work, we'll move to number 2 in new business, which are committee meetings moving ahead. We suspended the committee meeting since the spread of the COVID and the shutdown of the facilities. But I know a lot of people are anxious to get moving again, and it looks like we've developed a pretty decent system. I know we're having some hardware issues here and there, but what we're running right now with Google Meet, with the YouTube stream for the public, I think would serve quite well for each committee We need to decide, if someone from each committee wanted to be the administrator of this streaming meeting. And other than that, I think that as long as we can make sure all our committee members are capable of at least dialing in on the phone and being able to do how I'm doing it right now, or want to use a PC or a Mac to have both audio and video in the Google Meet, that's great. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, I'm all ears, but I think the way we're doing things right now with this meeting is sufficient, and we can translate that into our committees.
So when do you think that we would be able to start having meetings then?
Well, if you'd like, we can make a motion right now to reinstall the meeting schedule.
I think that would be great. I know my committees, I think, are both anxious to start meeting again.
Okay, and just make sure that, each person from a committee, or maybe we can help if you don't have someone from the committee to step forward to serve as the moderator of these meetings. And we can go back into it.
Excuse me, what would that entail? Would that somebody need to be at the town hall to host the meeting, or?
Right now, we did get the fiber optic install, and so we're doing far better than we were before as far as upload and download speed. And it is fairly consistent. I'd recommend it unless somebody had something at home that was far superior as opposed to a network speed. But we know this works. So, initially maybe we could ask someone to do it from here. If they could run successful trials from a different location, I think that would be sufficient.
Do we have somebody to teach us how to do this?
Yep. The man on the overseeing all this is Oswaldo from County MIS.
Uh-huh.
Oswaldo, say hi.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Aldo, hello.
I'd like to extend my gratitude to Oswaldo. He has been an integral part of us having these meetings, and
Thank you.
I really appreciate Oswaldo. And we're getting used to it here too. So, I think we're ready to go. Does anyone else have anything to say? So I'd like to make a motion to restart the Chatham committees with the Google Meet platform and the YouTube stream for public viewing. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, so moved. So we'll go back to our routine. And if there are any questions, I can try to answer them as far as the stream. If they get really technical, we may have to consult with Waldo. But thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, so number 3 in new business was YouTube chat, which I mentioned as a precursor to the meeting. So we are running the YouTube stream. Let me see here. Ooh. So we may have to consult with Waldo. But thank you. 30 seconds away. This is okay. Hey, Waldo, are you watching the YouTube stream right now?
Yes, I am. You currently have it pointing at YouTube Studio and not at the Google meeting.
I wonder why that happened. When I just checked a few minutes ago, it was fine.
Yep, if you just click on the meeting tab, it should be good to go then.
Is it back now?
Because of the delay, I might not see it for a couple more seconds, but as long as it's pointing on that... Yep, it's good now. It's good.
Okay, thank you. So I spent too much time actually on the YouTube site. Yes, Kevin?
Did we vote on that motion to begin the meetings?
I don't think
We
we
did.
did.
We didn't.
We had a motion and a second, but I don't think we voted.
That's
Oh,
correct.
no, okay. Thank you. I was preoccupied by the stream.
I understand.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, so number 3, YouTube chat. Number 4, external board publications, Councilwoman Abby Meese. This involves some correspondences that floated around that we've seen. You know, we've had an interesting dynamic so far this year with the town board. I know that things haven't always gone as mellifluous as possible. You know, and we've received different comments and criticism. Abby, would you like to talk on this?
I don't really want to, but I will. I've had various people tell me there's been some allegations and pretty severe criticism written about me and the other 2 members of the town board, in particular in the Democratic newsletter. I avoided reading it because I figured it was just going to make me more upset. But after hearing more and more snippets, I finally took the plunge and read it. And it was pretty upsetting. I guess the people that write the Chatham Democratic newsletter induced sitting board members to criticize their fellow board members in a document to be disseminated around Chatham. In other words, 5 months into our 4-year terms, the Chatham Democratic leaders, who one would think would be focusing on the presidential election, decided to create strife in their own hometown by asking a question that was intended to divide the board. It wasn't asked of all of us how we're all doing together. There was no attempt to. This was meant to divide. I give credit to Kevin, who did make an attempt to say a couple kind things, but it was pretty cruel stuff. And this is what I want to say about that. If the town board was working as a team, and if there was an intent on each of our parts to have some kind of mutual trust and respect, I would think my fellow board members would either pass on this pernicious question or try to write it in such a way that it wasn't, terribly hurtful, and try to write some encouraging things as well. But instead, both board members wrote unflattering and accurate pieces containing cruel and false allegations. I find myself wondering, what is the point of this? If we are to work together, what good do these gentlemen achieve by writing these paragraphs? Will such bile help stimulate a positive exchange of ideas between us? Is this good for our town? So I ask, how does this help, and what is the goal? I shall sit on this town board for over 3 more years. Why don't we save the attacks for closer to my term's end, and in the meantime, attempt to work together? Wouldn't that make better sense? Isn't that what one would do cares about our town more than politics? Would it be more productive to explain, question, and discuss rather than make what I consider malignant allegations in a political newsletter? I am interested, and I want to look at you guys when I say this, I am interested in working with all of you. All 5 of us were chosen to sit in these seats. I do not see a majority or a minority. I see a group of people who want to serve the community. If anything, John is in a majority, but I don't see that. I don't see the majorities and minorities. Town board resolution violates governor's order. This is completely erroneous. We did not violate the executive order, and I posted that order on the Democratic's newsletter page for the Democrats of Chatham to see that we did not do that at all. Not in the least bit. Lastly, a self-described recent Chatham transplant accuses the board of appearing to not embrace our roles as representatives of all the residents, but just our friends. This could not be further from the truth. I care about everyone, including that letter writer. I am your representative as well. I'm not sure how hard it was to leave Long Island for Chatham, but Chatham welcomes you. We welcome you to the neighborhood. I hope I can live up to your expectations as you begin to learn about this unique community while I continue to persevere to serve everyone better. So please, I beseech all board members, this includes myself, and all political machines, please let us try to work together. Please let us refrain from provoking and misrepresenting one another. I apologize for any real or perceived affronts. Let us please and work as a team. I want to work with you guys, and I am sorry if I have said things or done things or written things that you have found wrong or offensive, and I beseech you, please, let's start over. Please. I want to work with you guys. I have respect for you. You're smart. When we're on the committees, Kevin, I enjoy working with you. John, I know you said you're stymied at almost every corner. I spent hours and hours in your house working with you. I like you. I want to work with you. So please, may we start over. That's it. Thank you for suffering that.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I think you're mischaracterizing the question that was asked. I think you're mischaracterizing what I said. And I also think this is a completely inappropriate piece of business for the board to be conducting in this situation. This is not a forum for your agenda, Abby. This is a forum to discuss business. I have no intention of responding to you, whether I agree with you or don't agree with you. I just want you to note that this should never have been on the agenda. And let me also note that if somebody asked me to write a piece about how I feel about the work I'm doing, I have every right to do that in any forum that I choose.
May I respond, please? I understand free speech, and John, of course, you're more than welcome to answer any questions and respond in any publications that you wish to. The point is, if we're going to have some type of harmony or rapport, it would be helpful if outside of the meetings, scathing reports that are inaccurate are not written. I mean, to say I believe that newly elected board members had no idea of how they could improve on what had been started in the last 4 years, we improved it the very first meeting.
Abby, I don't want to get into your opinion. This
I
isn't a
know
place
you
to
don't.
have an argument.
I don't want to argue with you.
Yes,